Welcome back everyone to a brand new Rainbow Six Siege video, and the new operation just came out. It's now no longer only on test servers. Well, the test servers are gone obviously, but the actual operation's finally out. So I'm going to be going over the best attachments, sites, and gadgets. So pretty much entire loadout for each and every one of the operators. We have a ton of operators now because of course we got the two new ones. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly show you how many operators there are. I'm going to be going over all of them for attack and defense. So there's 27 on both, so that means we're going to have 54 total loadouts to go over. I'm going to probably do one of these videos every single season, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss these. And you guys join my Discord server, links in the description to find people to play with and just talk to people. But yeah, this is my opinion, and I'm going to just get straight into this. I'm not going to go over their bad gun, because I'm just going to go over their better gun, because if I go over their bad gun attachments, it's going to take too long. So yeah, let's start off with Sledge. We're going to use the L85 because I think it's the better gun, with the ACOG, flash hider, and vertical grip. Then I'm going to use the SMG-11 just because it's probably one of the best secondary weapons, and I'm going to use hollow, flash hider, and vertical grip. These are the best for recoil control on small bursts. And then if you guys want to use whatever site you want, it is up to you. And then I totally use frag grenades because frag grenades are amazing. Next for Thatcher, I think the L85 is by far the best gun. ACOG, I'd use ACOG on any gun that has it. And then if the gun doesn't have an ACOG, use hollow or the green dot. But I prefer hollow for sure. But yeah, you could use reflex or hollow, doesn't matter. But if there's an ACOG, I'd recommend using it. Next, we got flash hider, vertical grip, and I wouldn't recommend using laser sights because that gives away your position. And then for his one and only pistol, use the muzzle brake. I'd recommend using muzzle brake on all pistols that have it, which are, I'm pretty sure, all of them. I wouldn't recommend using suppressor. And then Claymore for his gadget. Next up, we have Ash. The R4C is the much better gun. Use hollow or reflex, and then I'd use compensator and vertical grip. For her secondaries, I just recommend using this one because it does more damage, and of course, use a muzzle brake on that. And then for her gadget, that's a definite stun grenade because you're not going to really use breaches all that often with Ash because of her gadget. For Thermite, definitely use his AR because shotgun's not that great. And ARs are needed on attack. You can't really use shotguns on attack. It's pretty hard to do so. So I'd recommend doing ACOG, vertical, and compensator. And then for his pistols, this one just does more damage, same as Ash. Use a muzzle brake. And then I'd recommend using claymores because they're great for watching flanks. Next, I'd recommend using the F2. It's my favorite gun in the entire game. It's the main reason I play Twitch so much. So use vertical grip, compensator, ACOG. And then for secondary, some people find this gun better. If you're skilled with it, then you can use it. But for most people, I'd say that the P9 is better with the muzzle brake. And I use breaches on Twitch just for personal preference. You should probably use claymores. Monty, I'd recommend using the P9 even if you're good with the LFP because it's his only gun and you don't want to only have 6 bullets in the entire gun if it's your only gun. And then I'd recommend using smokes. Glaz, 100%. I would probably use the PMM because it's an amazing handgun. So use the muzzle brake on that, of course. Next, for his main gun, the sights on these are all pretty nice because they're the Russian sights. I just use the red dot, and then you can use muzzle brake. And then for his gadget, this is personal preference. You could use smoke grenades because he can see through smokes, but frag grenades are the best for getting kills. So this one is totally up to you. I'd probably pick smoke grenades though. Next up, we have Fuse. Let's use the AK-12. It's the best. ACOG, vertical grip, flash hider. And then the PMM, use the muzzle brake on that, and then use smokes. Next, we have Blitz. Just pop a muzzle brake on the pistol and use smoke grenades. For IQ, this is the one exception. I'd put a suppressor on her pistol just so you can shoot out gadgets easily. And then use a claymore for flanks. And then all of her guns are really good, but I prefer the 5.52 Commando. Use an ACOG, vertical grip, and muzzle brake. If you guys are going to use the AUG, use an ACOG and compensator. And if you're going to use the G8, use an ACOG, vertical grip, and compensator. All of IQ's guns are amazing, but I prefer the Commando. Next, we have Buck. I'd recommend trying to use his C8, even though the recoil is garbage, so we want to compensate on this. You can't put a vertical grip on it, which kind of stinks. You're going to have to get used to Buck's gun. And then, of course, muzzle brake for the secondary. And then, whenever there are frags, except in rare occasions, you take the frags. Blackbeard, I'm going to use his fully automatic one. And then you can use ACOG, muzzle brake, and then vertical grip. I recommend muzzle brake just because of the bad recoil. You can one-tap it. And then on this, use the muzzle brake, and then I use breaches because I'm not a fan of flashes. Next, for Capital, I'd recommend the Para because I don't like LMGs. Use ACOG, muzzle brake, vertical grip. For his handgun, just use the muzzle brake, and then Claymores for flanks. For Habana, I'd recommend the Type 89. Use ACOG, vertical grip compensator, and then for the Bearing 9, hollow, and flash hider. Next up, we have Jackal. For Jackal, I'd recommend the C7E 100%. Use the ACOG compensator vertical grip. And then for secondary, definitely take the shotgun. I'd use the reflex. And then smokes or claymore, that is personal preference. I take the smokes for easy plants. Next is Ying. I'd recommend the T95 because shotguns are pretty garbage on attack. Use ACOG, flash hider, vert grip, and of course pistol. Use a muzzle brake, and then claymores to watch for the flanks. For Sofia, her LMG is pretty good, so go over both. For her LMG, use ACOG, compensator, vertical grip, and if you're going to use her assault rifle, ACOG, flash hider, and vertical grip. And then here you can't, of course, just put a muzzle brake like usual, and then claymore to watch for the flanks. Dokubi, her DMR, or whatever these are called, the marksman rifle is definitely better. So use ACOG, muzzle brake, and vertical grip. Of course, you want to use muzzle brake on all single shot weapons like the marksman rifles. And then I'd recommend the SMG-12 just because it has a sight, vertical grip, hollow, and then you could use this if you want. Pop a suppressor on it, it's up to you guys. Both of these are pretty good. Secondaries and then flashbangs or smokes, it's up to you guys. Next up, we got Lian. Lian, I prefer the V308, ACOG, muzzle brake, vertical grip, and then of course the muzzle brake on the pistol. I'm going to stop going over the pistols, just use a muzzle brake if it has it. If it doesn't have anything, don't use anything. So I'm going to stop going over the pistols, or just tell you guys which is the better one, and then put a muzzle brake on all the pistols. For Finka, the Spear Weight's definitely the better one. ACOG, flash hider, vertical grip, and the PMM is the better secondary. And of course take frags because she has frags. Maverick, these are both great. If you're going to use the AR, use the angled grip, ACOG, and muzzle brake. If you're going to use the M4, ACOG, compensator, vertical grip. That's personal preference. And then claymores, I usually like on Maverick, but he does have frag grenades, so keep that in mind. It's personal preference. But claymores are good for Maverick because you can obviously claymore a hole in a reinforced wall and then claymore it. So that is one of the exceptions to not using frags. Next for Nomad, I use the ARX. It has a less magazine size and only 3 extra damage, so it's personal preference, so I'll go over both. For the AK, ACOG compensator. For the ARX, ACOG compensator. Same. This one you can't put any muzzle brakes on it, so you just use it as an ACOG. And then breach charges I prefer. Gridlock, I use the F90, and I use ACOG, flash hider, vertical grip, and then I use the super shorty with a red dot, and then I use smokes. Of course, use smokes on Gridlock for the easy plants. Next we have Nox. She's a pretty garbage operator overall. You can't put ACOGs on this, so put hollow, flash hider. And then for this one, I use the Deagle for sure with muzzle brake and then frags because she has frags, which is a new addition. Next, we have another garbage operator. I'd use the G8. A lot of people use the hollow instead of the ACOG just for more aggressive plays, but I use the ACOG, compensator, vertical grip, and then I use the shotgun. You could also use the SMG-11 if you like that gun. I do, but I prefer shotguns if you have a shotgun as a secondary. And then Claymore to watch for the flanks. Kali, can't do anything to this. And then out of these two, definitely take the C75. You can't customize it either. And then take the Claymores for the flanks. And then we got the new operator, Iana. I'll go over all of her guns. So the G36 is probably her worst gun, but if you're going to use it, ACOG, compensator, vertical grip. And then for a better gun, ARX, ACOG, compensator, vertical grip as well. And then put a muzzle brake on here and take frags. Now moving on to the defenders. We got Smoke. This guy's great. Definitely use the shotgun and the SMG combo. For the SMG, flash hider, vertical grip, hollow. And then definitely use a deployable shield for Smoke so you can peek and throw your toxic grenades. Same thing for Mute. Use the shotgun with the reflex with the SMG, hollow, compensator, vertical grip. Exact same loadout, except with him, you get nitro cells, so take nitro cells. Nitro cells are like the frag grenades of defense, so if an operator has nitro cells, you almost always take them. Next is Castle. Both of his guns are pretty garbage. The UMP-45 is pretty bad, but you can use hollow, compensator, vertical grip. And then, of course, I use the Super Shorty, which is a new addition with an Operation Void Edge. He just got the shotgun. Definitely use it over the pistol. Can't really customize it that much. And I just prefer using the bulletproof cam. That's personal preference. Pulse, once again, same stuff. I prefer the angled grip with Pulse, so you can go from his cardiac sensor straight to the gun a little bit faster. And then I'd recommend the M45 because it does more damage with the muzzle brake, and then nitro cell. Obviously for Pulse, you definitely want a nitro cell. For Doc, use the MP5 100%, ACOG flash hider vertical grip, and then use the P9 with the muzzle brake, and then use barbed wire. Rook is the exact same as Doc, and then you take impacts instead of barbed wire. For Capcan, definitely use the 9X, red dot, flash hider vertical grip, and then use his PMM and nitro cell. Tachanka, I'm going to take the 9X. They still haven't reworked him, so keep in mind, next operation, he's not going to have primary weapons, but this operation, he has the 9X, so I'd recommend using this, same as Tachanka, exact same as Tachanka, and then take the bulletproof, or the deployable shield, so you can use his actual turret without getting shot in your feet. Next, Jaeger is the best gun in defense in my opinion. 416C, hollow, flash hider, vertical grip, and then I recommend barbed wire. Bandit, now this is the rare exception. I use his MP7 without any sights because Bandit's iron sights are the best in the entire game. So I use him without any sight, and then I use the compensator, and then the only sidearm is that with the muzzle brake, and then since he has a nitro cell, I use it. Next up, we got Frost. I use her 9mm with the, well, this is just added, so I'm going to change to the hollow, and then I'm going to use extended and angled grip. The new addition to her is the hollow sight, which is pretty cool, and then I'd use, obviously, deployable shield for the frost traps. Next, we have Valkyrie, use the MPX. Even though it's a pea shooter, you're still going to want a long-range weapon, unless you like this shotgun. For the shotgun, use a reflex. For this, use hollow, muzzle, vertical grip. For Deagle, put a muzzle brake on there, and then use nitro cells. Caveira, I would like her shotgun. I'm going to go over both. This is personal preference, but I find her shotgun to be very good. Use your reflex muzzle brake on her SMG, and then since you're mainly going to be running around, if you're silent with your secondary, I prefer shotgun, and I just use the reflex on it. And then this you can customize, and then I use impacts on Cav. Echo, it's literally a better version of Doc and Rook's gun. Totally use it with the ACOG and vertical grip, and then I use the Bearing 9 with the hollow and flash hider, as well as the deployable shield to just sit behind and drone. Mira, definitely take the Vector, so you can peek around your shields. With the Vector, take a hollow compensator vertical grip, and then take her shotgun with the reflex to make peek holes with a nitro cell. Next, we got Lesion. Lesion was nerfed recently. He's pretty garbage now, but I'd take his T5 with the hollow flash hider, and then this with a muzzle brake and impacts. Ella, I would recommend the Scorpion. Still pretty good gun. Hollow compensator vertical grip, and then take barbed wire. Vigil, definitely take his Boss G because it has an ACOG. ACOGs on defense are very good. And then I prefer angled grip. You can use vertical grip is personal preference. One controls recoil, one controls ADS time. The vertical grip is for the recoil, and the other one is for ADS time. Then we use the SMG-12, personal preference, but if you're using the SMG-12, vertical grip, hollow sight. Next we got Maestro. For Maestro, use the Alda, hollow, compensator, vertical grip, and then use the Bolif to make rotation holes as well as the impacts. Alibi, definitely use for MP Storm, hollow, flash hider, and the vertical grip. Not sure why mine wasn't on. And then important for Alibi, make sure you don't have a weapon skin or a weapon charm or a laser sight equipped, just so you can blend in as a decoy. Don't use any weapon charms or weapon skins for any of Alibi's guns. Very important you do that. And then the Balif you can't customize. And then impacts or deployable, up to you. I choose impacts. Next we have Clash. Pretty joke of an operator as of now, so I'm not going to go over. Just kidding. I'd use the SPS with the flash hider. really garbage operator. Cade, I'd use his AUG with the hollow compensator vertical grip, and then the nitro cell. Mozzie, I'm going to go over both because they're pretty good. P10, I'd use the hollow flash hider vertical grip. For the commando, which I personally prefer, I'd use hollow compensator vertical grip. And then I'd use his super shorty and nitro cell. Warden, they buffed him a little bit. He's still pretty garbage. This is personal preference. You can do a shotgun SMG, but I prefer the MPX with an SMG. This is personal preference though. For the shotgun reflex, for the MPX, hollow, flash, vertical. And then I definitely recommend the SMG-12 with the hollow and vertical, and then nitro cells. Next we got Coil. Use his vector with the hollow compensator and vertical grip. If you have trouble hitting shots with the vector, Goyo does have an ACOG on his shotgun, so that is pretty cool. So maybe you like an ACOG on defense, you can use him with the ACOG suppressor vertical grip, but I prefer the vector. And then, of course, he has nitro cells, so use him. Second to last operator, Wamai, definitely use the AUG, hollow, and flash hider. This is an assault rifle on defense. Him and Mozzie are the only ones with assault rifles on defense, so take advantage and use the AUG. And then the Corrados 357, use a muzzle brake on that with barbed wire. Finally, Oryx, he has the shotgun and the MP5. The MP5 does not have an ACOG like Doc and Rook. I'd still recommend it. Use a hollow or a reflex. Flash hider vertical grip for sure. And then for secondaries, 100% take the Bolif so you can shoot through the hatches and easily peek through the hatches, because with Oryx you want to be able to go through soft hatches and peek, and this is going to be a great utility to do so because you don't have impacts with him, and then you can use a bulletproof or a barbed wire. Totally up to you guys. But goddamn, that was a long video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and yeah, I'll see you guys all later. I'll make these every single operation if I remember.